The emergency signal went out across 1,200 star systems in less than 3 standard galactic hours. Representatives from 47 different species received the same message. It was marked with the highest priority code, a code that had not been used in over 6,000 years. The last time this code appeared, the Varathi hive had consumed 3 entire civilizations before being stopped. Ambassador Krixtal of the Delvian Collective arrived first at the Grand Assembly Hall on Station Prime. His 4 eyes scanned the massive chamber as other delegates began pouring through the transport gates. The usually calm and composed Delvian felt something he had not experienced in 2 centuries of diplomatic service. He felt afraid. High Counselor Zenth, the ancient Morvani who had served as head of the Galactic Council for 900 years, stood at the central podium. Her silver skin reflected the harsh lights of the chamber. She waited until every seat was filled. The chamber held representatives from every known spacefaring civilization. Every single one of them had answered the emergency summons. "I call this session to order," Zenth said. Her voice carried through the translation systems built into every seat. "What I am about to tell you will change everything we know about our galaxy." 18 standard hours ago, the species known as humans made an announcement. A murmur spread through the chamber. The humans. They were the newest members of the galactic community, having achieved basic space travel only 42 standard years ago. They were considered primitive by most standards. They still fought wars among themselves. They had barely established their first colony on their neighboring planet, the red world they called Mars. The humans have announced the successful test of a faster-than-light engine prototype, Zenth continued. The chamber exploded into chaos. Delegates jumped from their seats. Some screamed in their native languages. Others simply sat frozen in shock. Krixtal felt his hearts, all 3 of them, beating rapidly against his chest plates. "Order. I will have order," Zenth commanded. It took nearly 20 minutes for the chamber to settle. When it finally did, a tall insectoid delegate from the Krathi Federation rose to speak. His mandibles clicked nervously as he addressed the council. "This must be a mistake," he said. "The humans have been spacefaring for barely 4 decades. We, the Krathi, took 7,000 years to develop basic hyperdrive technology. The Delvians took 9,000. The record belongs to the Morvani, who achieved it in just under 5,000 years. There is no possible way that these humans could have accomplished this." Zenth's expression remained unchanged. "There is no mistake. Our observers stationed in the human system have confirmed the test." A small vessel carrying 3 human scientists traveled a distance of 4 light years in approximately 7 minutes. Another wave of noise swept through the chamber. 4 light years and 7 minutes. The fastest hyperdrive engines in the galaxy could cover that distance in roughly 2 hours. What the humans had achieved was not just faster than light travel. It was something entirely beyond anything the galactic community had ever seen. A small delegate from the Fenri Communion raised her delicate hand. The Fenri were known for their calm and logical approach to problems. They had served as mediators in countless conflicts over the millennia. "High Counselor," she said, her voice soft but steady. "Perhaps we should hear the details before we panic. How did the humans accomplish this? What technology did they use?" Zenth nodded and activated a holographic display in the center of the chamber. It showed detailed schematics that had been transmitted by human scientists as part of their announcement. The schematics meant nothing to most of the delegates. They showed complex equations and engineering designs that seemed almost alien in their approach. According to the humans, Zenth explained, they did not create a hyperdrive in the traditional sense. They did not bend space or create wormholes. They did something that our scientists believed was theoretically impossible. They found a way to make space itself move around their vessel while the vessel remained stationary relative to its own local space. The Fenri delegates studied the hologram with wide eyes. That would require energy levels beyond anything we can produce. How did they solve the power problem? They used a controlled reaction involving something they call exotic matter. They claim to have found a way to create this matter artificially in small quantities. The full details are still being transmitted. Crickstow finally found his voice. Why are they sharing this information? Every species in history has guarded their greatest technological secrets. Why would the humans simply give this away? Zenth's expression softened slightly. That is perhaps the most troubling part of this situation. The humans are not giving the technology away. They are offering to share it. They have invited representatives from every member species to visit their homeworld. They wish to discuss a joint development program that would allow all species to benefit from this discovery. The chamber fell completely silent. This was not how things worked in the galaxy. Technology was power. Species guarded their advantages jealously. The great powers maintained their positions through technological superiority. What the humans were proposing went against every political instinct that had governed galactic civilization for millions of years. An elderly delegate from the Koran Empire rose slowly from his seat. The Korans were one of the three great powers of the galaxy. They controlled over 200 star systems and had the largest military fleet in known space. Their voice carried considerable weight in any discussion. "Let us speak plainly," the Koran said. "The humans are dangerous. They have been spacefaring for less than 50 years, and they have already surpassed every achievement our civilizations have made over millions of years. Their population still fights among themselves over resources and ideology. They are unpredictable, aggressive, and now they have developed technology that makes them the most advanced species in the galaxy. We must act. What are you proposing?" Zenth asked carefully. "I am proposing nothing specific at this moment, but we must acknowledge the reality of our situation. If the humans decided to use this technology for conquest, there would be nothing we could do to stop them. They could strike any world in the galaxy and disappear before we could respond. Our entire military infrastructure is based on hyperdrive technology. Against engines that are hundreds of times faster, we would be helpless." A young human delegate had been sitting quietly in the observers section throughout the session. He had been assigned to Station Prime as a cultural liaison, one of several dozen humans who had been learning about galactic civilization over the past few years. Now, he raised his hand and asked permission to speak. Zenth hesitated. Humans were not full members of the council. They were probationary members, still being evaluated for permanent inclusion in the galactic community. But the situation was unprecedented. She granted him permission. The young man walked to the center of the chamber. He was small compared to most of the delegates around him. His body was soft, lacking any natural armor or weapons. He could not survive in vacuum without artificial protection. By galactic standards, he was practically defenseless. "My name is Dr. Marcus Chun," he said. "I am a physicist. Before I was assigned here, I worked at the research facility that developed the FTL engine. I would like to explain why we are sharing this technology." The chamber waited. When humanity first looked up at the stars, we dreamed of reaching them. For thousands of years, we could only watch and wonder. When we finally achieved space travel, we thought we were alone. Then we discovered you, all of you, an entire galaxy full of intelligent life. We were not alone anymore. He paused and looked around the chamber. "Over the past 40 years, we have studied your civilizations. We have learned your histories, and we have noticed something. Despite all your technological advancement, despite millions of years of development, you still fight each other. You still compete for resources. You still fear each other. You have achieved so much, but you have not achieved peace." Several delegates shifted uncomfortably in their seats. The research team that developed this engine could have kept it secret. Our governments wanted to keep it secret. But we refused. We leaked the designs to every nation on our planet simultaneously. We made sure no single group could control this power. And now we are doing the same thing with the galaxy." The Koran delegate interrupted. "You are naive. Power must be controlled. If everyone has access to this technology, chaos will follow. Wars will be fought on scales never before imagined." Dr. Chun smiled sadly. "Perhaps. Or perhaps the opposite will happen. Perhaps when everyone has equal access to the stars, there will be nothing left to fight over. Our planet has enough conflicts. We have seen what happens when power is hoarded. We decided to try something different. And if it fails?" The Koran demanded. "If sharing this technology leads to destruction, then we will have failed while trying to do something good. That seems better than succeeding at doing something selfish." The chamber erupted into debate again. Some delegates demanded that the humans be expelled from the galactic community immediately. Others argued for careful negotiation. A few quietly expressed support for the human proposal. The session continued for hours, with no clear resolution in sight. What none of the delegates understood was that the decision had already been made. While they debated, human scientists were uploading the complete technical specifications to every public information network in the galaxy. Within days, any species with basic manufacturing capability would be able to build their own FDL engines. The humans had not asked for permission. They had not waited for approval. They had simply decided that the galaxy needed to change, and they had changed it. In the years that followed, the consequences of that decision unfolded in ways no one could have predicted. Some species used the technology wisely, establishing trade routes and cultural exchanges that had been impossible before. Others used it for war, as the Koran delegate had feared. But something unexpected happened as well. When every species had access to the stars, the power dynamics that had governed galactic civilization for millions of years began to shift. The great powers could no longer maintain control through technological superiority alone. New alliances formed. Old enemies found common ground. The galaxy became smaller and more connected. It was chaotic. It was messy. It was dangerous. But it was also alive in a way it had never been before. Humanity had given the galaxy a gift that many did not want. They had given it the possibility of change. The emergency session that had been called to address the human announcement eventually ended without any formal decision. The council could not agree on a response because there was no precedent for what had happened. The humans had broken every rule of galactic politics, and in doing so, they had made those rules meaningless. Ambassador Krikstal returned to his homeworld 3 days after the session ended. He spent a long time thinking about what he had witnessed. The humans were strange creatures. They were weak and short-lived and constantly fighting among themselves. But they had done something that no other species in galactic history had ever done. They had looked at the way things had always been and decided that it was not good enough. Perhaps, Krikstal thought, that was the most human thing of all. They refused to accept that the future had to be like the past. They believed that things could be better. And they were willing to take tremendous risks to make that belief into reality. The galaxy would never be the same again. Whether that was a good thing or a bad thing remained to be seen. But one thing was certain. The humans had arrived on the galactic stage, and they had announced their presence in a way that no one would ever forget. The stars were no longer controlled by the powerful few. They belonged to everyone now. And somewhere on a small blue planet orbiting an ordinary yellow star, the scientists who had started it all watched their creation spread across the cosmos and hoped that they had made the right choice. Only time would tell.